There is such a danger in jumping into your next season without really closing the previous one. Whakalavatu, hey beautiful people. Why am I doing this? I don't know, I just felt like it. Hey beautiful people, it is Nolz here. And today I want to talk to you about something that I think is really precious, priceless, and I absolutely hate these things. And it's when you are transitioning in between life seasons. And what do you do in the in-between? Congrats on even making it into this year. I don't know when you're watching this, but whenever you are in this year, just congrats. Congrats for making it this far, okay? Some of you might have started the year like, but let's make up for it and let's shift together. I do have another video that might help you like unpack and process some stuff. A lot of the stuff I talk about are tools that can help you mentor yourself, help you with conversations with your friends and talk about it. And I absolutely love just the aspect of mentoring, peer mentoring or mentor-mentee, and I hope that these are some tools. And so here's a video that might help you unpack, especially when you're going from a whole big year that you just don't know, like, I don't know how to process it. I'm just going to put it in the vault and ignore it and suppress it. But let's bring it out. So that's another video that might help you. But this one is all about transitioning. It's actually a part 1, part 2, but listen, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, talk to your friends after this, journal after this. This is a ongoing conversation to really bring up some thoughts that might help you. And I think hopefully it will add value to you in your season of transition. I think it's really important that we can stop and be aware that we are transitioning from one huge season to the next, whatever, whenever that looks like in your life. And it's important to not suppress, ignore, or jump, I feel. Some percentage of people might be able to do that well. Others, you might suppress and it will creep up and catch you later on. And so being proactive is such an important part in your healing, in your closure. What's a transition period? It's when you know that you're going significantly from one thing and you're moving to the next. Now it might be an obvious one. For example, you're moving jobs, you're changing jobs, you're moving cities or countries drastically. Crazy. Like you can see these tangible things, but there's other things that are not as perhaps noticeable. You can pick up that you're changing in your mindset and you're choosing to change, and there might be a whole cultural shift in your brain happening, and you're like, okay, it's a different person. You feel that, you know, I've lived in my young 20s and now I need to move into the 30s era, and not saying that you're going to be old and serious, but what does that look like? You know, there's other things. There might be relational changes. Not exactly like, oh, you're not my friend anymore, but there's change happening. And in those transitions, we feel a lot of things or we don't, and that can be telling as well. And this is what I want to talk to. Part 1 is about the word surrender. This is a quote that's been on my heart lately. You're never going to know the person you could become if you continue to hang on to the person you once were. So how does the word surrender fall into this? Let me share a story. Story time! December 2023, by surprise, I found out I was pregnant with our first baby on the way. And I was absolutely terrified. I kid you not. My husband Ken was ecstatic. He was super hyped straight away. Me, I was terrified for the first 2 weeks of finding this out. And after 2 weeks, I was really excited and really like, whoa, blessed and all the beautiful feelings. But for 2 weeks, mate, it was a fight to process what the flip is going to happen to me. So I actually entered this with a lot of fear and anxiety. What I didn't expect was that this pregnancy would represent a huge transition phase, but on deeper levels than just going from not a mum to a mum and the physical things that we see change. And all the mums are like, yeah, I know, it's a big deal, like, you get it. But let me tell you a story about how this unpacked a lot of things that was really revelation for me. In the first 2 weeks while I was in this terrifying season, I made one great move that I was proud of from the get-go. And it was the saving grace for the entire pregnancy and labor. And that was this. I made a conscious, strong and bold decision that I will surrender to the process. Context. My background is like 15 plus years in event management. I'm an organizer. I make plans on plans on plans, and the plan has a plan as well. I am amazing at making plan A, B, C, D, E, and in some cases I have made more than that. So I have been an intense control freak, and I've gotten a little bit better. And I like to be organized and measured as best as possible. This is where you can't control this situation. In these 2 weeks of first finding out that I'm pregnant, I'm terrified because I know for a fact it is out of my control of what changes will happen, the could happen, the maybe, the might, the scary side of this unknown. And in this initial moment, I decided, okay, I'm going to surrender to the process because it is totally out of my control, and I'm going to have to trust God through this whole process, right? But the thought and the mentality of like, I'm going to choose to surrender, this has a lot of multiple layers that I was like, whoa, I am so glad I made this conscious decision from the start of my year, because January onwards, it was a roller coaster. I'm a dancer, so, I could imagine like, whoa, I'm going to be dancing with my baby in my belly for ages, maybe 6-7 months, and then I'll slow down. So I was, wow, it's such a beautiful picture. Yeah, at 3 months, I had an uncommon joint pain everywhere, and I had to stop dancing, and I couldn't sleep very well at night for specifically the joint pain, and just physically everything went out the window. All the nice movement plans, I thought, yeah, pregnancy Pilates, everything was in pain. But I had this strong decision. I'm going to surrender to the process. So what did I surrender? I surrendered all my expectations of what I feel should happen in my life in this season. I surrendered the attitudes that would pop up because hormonal stuff happened. And I was choosing to not allow my attitudes, my innate nature to bleed out and be taken out on my husband and my home. I had to choose to surrender my plans or what my definition was. In actual fact, I told my midwife, she goes, oh, do you have a birth plan? And I said, no, I want to do anything in the moment, making the best decisions for me and the baby. We're going to go with whatever happens, and I trust you. And my midwife goes, oh, thank you, this is great. Her relief was hilarious. And I'm not saying that anyone else should do this, but I am aware of how birth plans go out the window. And for me, what protected me was that I could have had this plan, these expectations, what I desired, what I dreamed of for this whole year. But I chose to surrender. Not only did I have to surrender during the pregnancy process, I had to surrender my social life, my social expectations, my capacity to be there for other people. And as a community person and passionate to look after others, that's a huge deal. I had to surrender what time and quality time looks like now, what time with the dance community that I absolutely love, what that feels and looks like. I had to surrender the fact that I'm going to miss out on heaps of things. And I had to surrender the fact that, okay, my year's out, no travel, no commitments. I have to really release that. And this happened within the first 2 weeks of my pregnancy. I just basically deleted anything I thought my life could be for that next year. And why was it a saving grace? Because when we want to hold on to our season we think we should have, or the season that we once were, or whatever it might be for you, not only do we miss out on the possibilities that could happen, the growth that could happen inside you, we potentially can build up a resentment. And that is difficult to process. When you become resentful that others are living this life and I'm stuck here, that, the comparison trap enters, or you feel entitled to this thing, when really surrendering to the process is a beautiful, powerful thing. I'm not trying to share my pregnancy journey for those who haven't been pregnant, or for our, brothers out there. I'm sharing it because it forced me to understand another layer of, all right, I'm going to back off trying to control everything and understand that in this period, maybe transition, I need to pause. And rather than being like, I surrender, go with the flow, because I'm not talking about going with the flow. That's a whole different thing. Going with the flow can sometimes become lazy as opposed to proactive. I'm talking about a proactive stance, a proactive posture where you're like, okay, self-awareness. I surrender what I can't control, but self-awareness. What can I grow in? What can I adapt in? What is this time period giving me? And it's providing an opportunity to grow. In that self-awareness time, you can grab a mirror and start to look at all the dirt that you need to get out. At the end of this video, I'm just going to share some things that you can think about, like, okay, what can I look at surrendering? So this is a practical chat as well. I feel like surrender is a messy, scary, but very powerful pause. Because you're admitting to yourself, okay, maybe I can't control everything. Maybe I don't have all superpowers to make my life amazing. And in that humble stance, you're saying vulnerably, okay, I'm not in control. I can become aware. I can humble and lay down issues and behaviors and rubbish and toxic things. And in this posture of strength, but pause, you can receive greater clarity where you're at, and then how you move into the next phase. Rather than just rushing, if you've moved house and you do it in a rush, you take all the mess with you because you just need to get out, and you just take all the junk and then you plonk all the junk, even more messed up, in the new house. So you just took all your rubbish to a new place, even though you're like, yeah, fresh new place. It's not a fresh new place because you took all your rubbish there. But what you could have done is paused, start to surrender all the stuff that you shouldn't have and you don't need and is detrimental to your fresh new season. And you sift through and you filter through, and it's not nice and it's messy and it's vulnerable and honest. But then you move into your next home well. This is why self-awareness is so important, and I think we always can grow greater self-awareness. Like, you shouldn't have that arrogance, like, yeah, I'm really self-aware. Like, yeah, you could be, but everyone has blind spots. And you'll know this because if you chat to a mentor who's 20 years ahead of the game, they will point out your blind spots straight away. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, I don't have self-awareness. Because they have wisdom, life experience and wisdom. That's why it's important to have mentors around you who are way ahead of you in terms of life. So humbly admitting, like, okay, I surrender to this. I'm surrendering down this. What do I need to be self-aware of before I move into the next phase? You know, when, we've all thought this. When people move countries, I won't name the country that everyone moves to. We move with the mentality of like, wow, this is going to be a fresh start. And that's so true. But is it a fresh start if you take all your baggage, your emotional turmoil, your habits and behaviors, your toxic thinking, your traumatized thinking, you take all of that to your new place? Not only is that not helpful for yourself, it doesn't change anything. I have seen people who will move from place to place and will move from social group to social group. But because they've never dealt with the stuff in here, the dramas carry and chase them. And they'll blame their social groups and then move social groups. But it's like, no, it's not the social groups that's the problem. It's these things that need to be in the old season. Now, there's things that I'm talking about that you'll understand are quite heavy in your life that needs to be surrendered. And you won't know how to surrender that. And there's some heavy trauma and weight that has been in your life for a while that you would really benefit from counseling, from professionals. Our friends, our peers, our mentors to an extent are amazing. However, in terms of the deeper layers, there's some big stuff that you would greatly benefit from having a professional come in and support you. So I really encourage, if you hit points that you're like, whoa, this is too big to deal with, I cannot deal with this by myself, and you'll know it because it's been with you for years, or it brings you such horrible pain, emotional pain, those things are quite meaty. And I would love you to experience just having professional support. Also, I have a lot of friends who have had bad experiences first time with counselors, so they never went back. That's because you didn't find the good counselor for you. So it's not actually about counseling's bad. It's about you need to find the right person that you click with and you're like, cool, I can trust you. You're going to help me. Okay, so keep going, keep trying, please. Here's some takeaways that you can ask yourself. I actually suggest ask yourself, journal, have a chat with your friends. It's so great when you can just soundboard and back and forth, and then you glean and you learn and you reflect. It's so great when you have someone else to talk to about it. Here's a few things that you can surrender. What expectations do I need to drop or completely get rid of? Expectations is interesting because it could be what you expect for others that you need to actually surrender. It could be what others expect about you, or what you expect about yourself. What expectations do you need to surrender? What attitudes do I need to surrender? Especially the ones that live in your mind. Oh, you know that movie where you can see all the guys' thoughts just come out? Oh. And then the girl in the movie was able to hear and see all of them. Like, whoa, imagine if people saw how toxic we thought or how petty. Whoa. Yeah, man, there's a lot in our mind that we need to surrender, but then that leaves space for a healthy mindset to enter and choose what you want. Choose what type of mindset you want for your life. In the Bible, in the book of Romans, it talks about being transformed by the renewal of your mind. That's a daily decision because we're not perfect. We're petty as, man. Not some of you. Some of you are just amazing. But some of us, we need to make a conscious decision every day to renew our mind. And so what are some of the attitudes that you want to surrender? Complaining should be surrendered every flippin' day. Complaining, I feel, is like the most sneaky, subtle seed that when you sow complaining every day in your life, bro, it will have bad fruit. Like, there's worse things that you think like, oh yeah, I need to get rid of that. But complaining, it's like sneaky. So if that's in your life, bro, lay it down. Behaviors. What's some behaviors and habits that you need to let go of? One thing, if you're really brave, you actually ask one of your closest friends about bad behaviors, negative behavior, or more like toxic behaviors, because they might help you see some blind spots that we're really good at reasoning ourselves away. Like, I do this, but it's because of this. And then we justify our behavior, but really it doesn't make it a good behavior. Like, it's sowing yuck seed, rotten stuff, man. It's helpful when you have, spouse, partner, best friend who lovingly can help you see some things that maybe you do not see. And it takes a lot of humility to have those conversations, to be honest, because your pride is going to get slapped. But that's good if pride gets slapped. We need humility in our life. Friendships. Oh, I feel like a friendship topic is like so big. It could be a whole series, right? There are friendships that belong in your old season, and that's okay. And in part 2, we'll talk about that as well. It's just recognizing what that looks like. Some people will leave your life and you have to accept that. Others need to. Others need changed boundaries. You need to process that for yourself. What's my friendship groups look like in this new season as I move on, and how do I process that area? How do I surrender things? How do I surrender my not so great habits within friendships as well? And in this period, it's actually really great to ask yourself, what sort of friend am I, and what sort of friend do I want to be to others? Lastly, commitments. I find that, most conversations I have with adults, 2 words: tired, busy. Busy, tired. Tired, busy. Busy, tired. It's not great, eh? Do you need to be in everything that you're committed to? And what's the pull? What's the motive there? What type of value is it adding and you're adding to that commitment? As a whole, is it adding value to your life, or is it adding to your burnout in your life? Generally speaking, if you look at things individually, they might be all great. Like, yeah, that adds value to my life. Yes, I learn heaps there. Whoa, I'm being stretched and I have new networks there, blah, blah, blah. So you have, if you look at in a micro lens, like, okay, it's great. But when you pan out, that compounds. And then burnout. Like, it's crazy how many people I meet and I'm talking away to them. And I'll say nothing because it's not my place to speak into their life about certain things. But I'm looking at them going, you're on the verge of a burnout. And everyone deals with burnout very differently. Some people crash and it goes into depression. Others just hide away from the world. Like, it crashes really badly. And I'm speaking from many experiences of burnout and taking years to heal from those aspects. So commitments is something that you really need to take a close up on and ask yourself, why am I committed to these things? How do they not only add value to my life, but how am I contributing to it? And there's this beautiful community. Like, look and evaluate and then surrender what you need to. Because remember, it's not about, I want to do all these great things. It's about, you're in this transition from one huge season to the next, and what are you taking with you and what are you leaving behind? Be brave, be courageous, dig into your life, don't be afraid. It will feel uncomfortable for some of you and it's confronting, and it also might take a while. Like, just bear in mind, I took a whole year of this beautiful journey of surrender, and I'm so grateful for it because it took a whole year because I had a baby, 9-10 months pregnant, and then had a baby, and the aftermath and the recovery of that. And so it was this unlayering, and it was absolutely beautiful. And don't be afraid of it, because you're not going to lose yourself in this. You're only going to gain yourself, and you're going to discover the becoming, which I think is so beautiful. That the word becoming is like, whoa, imagine who I can be. Imagine who I'm designed to be. Imagine what I can co-design with God to become who I'm meant to be. And the other things we can honor, we can release, we can forgive, we can lay down and celebrate that, and then move well into the next. And it does take a lot of bravery to unpack those things for yourself, but I believe you can do it. Part 2 is on the word grief. but it's not what you might think it is. So join me for that one. Share this to your friends. Subscribe if you want to follow for more things. And I look forward to the conversations. Comment, message me. Let's keep talking. Let's keep growing. Let's keep connecting together as a community. We can't do this on our own. My dad, who carves wakas, Pacific canoes, he always says to us and those he mentors, you need other people in your waka to paddle with you. And this is exactly what I mean. Bless you!